Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahawah Shemel, Shadabah Shemukah Qadash. Giving all praises to Yahawah Shemel, Shadabah Shemukah Qadash. Shalom to the hopefully elect out there. And when I say the hopefully elect, the Apostle Paul, I put a bunch of precepts together yesterday, and I was going to put it up yesterday, but it was going to be a long video because I was going to cover a lot of precepts. So I have it in the back burner, but the lesson, so I forget the title I was going to give it, but when I go through those first two scriptures, couple of scriptures, the title will come back to me. But anyway, there was something that had to do with give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. And I was going to give it another title. I had a couple of titles in my head. But the key word was diligent. And, once you eat this roll, the immediate thing that when it says eat the roll in Ezekiel chapter 3, Ezekiel chapter 2 and chapter 3, really, if you're going to go in Ezekiel chapter 3, you got to go in Ezekiel chapter 2. Because it says in the third chapter, the first few verses, eat this roll and go and teach the sons of Israel. Two things, eat the roll. When it means by eat the roll, it means to consume the roll, digest the roll, put the roll inside of you, and then go out and teach the children of Israel. That's it. That's it. Not have celebrity Israelite baseball games, softball games, soccer tournaments, cookouts, picnics, boat rides. The Lord, Yahawashi, and the apostles never did that. They taught the word. And this is why, if you go to Acts chapter 6, about Stephen, or Stephen, however you want to say it, there was a problem with the Grecian women. The Grecian women were Israelites, for you Christians out there. Oh, and by the way, this is what I'm going to entitle this video. Let me give you the title. The title of this video is The Pagan Origins of Christianity. Christianity exposed. All you Christians are nothing but pagans. Let me say that again. Maybe I'll just cut it short and say, all you Christians out there are nothing but pagans. And you're using our book, the book of the Israelites, and you're mixing your pagan practices along with what the scriptures say. All Christians are nothing but pagans. Secondary title would be the pagan origins of Christianity. One of your origins is Easter. Now, where am I going to go with this? Let me bring this up. Remember, we're defenders of the gospel. Christians don't have let me finish this commercial here. Okay, this is, give me a second. This is Tony Evans. He has a ministry, he has a mega church. So I got into it with one of his, Chris, I believe his name was. So I asked him a simple question, and it was a big back and forth with it. Come on, here comes another commercial. Show you what this guy's all about is money. Anytime you got a commercial, that's money right there. Okay, here we go. So this is The Journey, Easter 2020. With special guest Kirk Franklin. He ain't got no beard. They're pagan, no fringes. They're not going to teach you that to Israel. You go to their church for the next 100 years. They're not going to say you people are the Israelites. They're going to stay in their lane. But anyway, here it is. The journey, Easter 2020. So Chris, whatever his title is, I remember his name being Chris. He's an apologist for this group right here, deacon, bishop, whatever his title is. But you can watch the whole video if you want. This is all I need. It says the Journey Resurrection Sunday service featuring Tony Evans and Kirk Franklin. So you can see he's a mega. Tony Evans is has a mega church because he can actually get Christian. You think we can get a Christian celebrity that big? Kirk Franklin been on regular TV. This man been in the Grammys, won, if I'm not mistaken, they won. I'm positive he won Grammys. I'm talking about pagan. When I say worldly Grammys, not Christian Grammys, but worldly. So there's a thin line between Christianity, gospel music, and the secular world because they're very secular people. They rub elbows with people of the world, celebrities. So this is the word that I want. Easter, 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 Easter. The Journey, Easter 2020. So I went to Chris's page and I asked him a simple question. How did I frame it? I should go to it right now. I'm just going to frame it by memory. If the Lord rose on a Sunday and died on a Friday, how do you get 3 days out of that? And there's a precept, I'm not going to go to it, where it says after 3 days. Some say 3 days. Some precepts say, or one precept says, he shall be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. And he compared it to Jonah being 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of hell. He said hell. So if you go to hell and burn in hell, you Christians, are we going to go into the belly of a fish? And that shows you right there that hell means the grave. See, these Christians will teach you that if you ain't right with the Lord, you don't accept Jesus, that you're going to burn in hell for eternity, meaning 10 billion years go by and you are inflamed forever. You're inflamed forever. No, there's nothing you can do. 1 trillion years go by. You're still on fire. You're just feeling nothing but pain 24/7. The Most High said that his mercy endures forever. He's going to have mercy on everybody, including Esau, which are the Edomites, the so-called white men, which none of the churches teach. They don't teach. You know what they do when you mention Esau, Edom? Oh, the Edomites were done away with. That's what vocab does. That's their run-to response. Even Dr. Brown, he's on the Edomites are done away with because somebody said it. Therefore, if this top Christian said the Edomites are done away with, then guess what? The Edomites are done away with. If a top Christian says the moon is nothing but a big block of Swiss cheese, according to the teaching, that's a big block of Swiss cheese. There's a number of paganism. So anyway, I asked him a simple question. And it was matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me go to it. I asked him a simple question. Okay, then I pose it to this guy, the beats guy. Inspiration on the go, replied, God, good question. He goes in Friday, is in on Saturday and comes out on Sunday. It's not 72 hours, but it's across 3. That doesn't say that. Doesn't say that. That's taking taking a square peg and trying to put it in a round hole. That's what you're doing. Let me click on this. They're coming with some slick shit. It says, this is me. By the way, they blocked, they put a strike on my channel Not because I did anything recently. This was a video I did a long time. What they do now is they'll find a video that you did 3 years ago and give you a strike. Yes, you in violation of this, that, and the third. And I don't even remember putting that video up. Oh, that video I put up 3 years ago. That video I put up a year and a half ago. So it says the Bible says that the Lord will rise in 3 days or after 3 days. What is 3 days? What is it? 24, 2, 4, 6, that's 72 hours, right? According to what the New Testament says, that he would have to be in the belly of the earth or the heart of the earth or the tomb, sepulcher, for a full 3 days and 3 nights, right? So that would mean if he was crucified in the daytime, they that was on a Friday, called it Good Friday. We're supposedly in Good Friday today. It's official federal holiday. And okay, so he raised on Easter Sunday morning, right? So you got Friday before the sun went down. So we're talking about Friday evening as the sun was going down, right? It says, so that's Friday, right? 24 hours later would be, let's say it was 7 o'clock. Let's say it was 7 o'clock when they put him in the tomb. They prepared his body, they put him in the tomb. You can, let's say Friday night going into Saturday, that's 1 day, right? So that's 7 o'clock Saturday, right? So from Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. to Saturday, 7 o'clock p.m. is 1 day, right? Saturday, 7 o'clock p.m. to Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. is 2 days. Friday to Saturday, 7 o'clock p.m. to Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. That's only 24 hours. I'm sorry, that's 48 hours. 48 hours. What does it say he's going to rise inside of 2 days? Friday. We're just using as a guide, 7 o'clock p.m. That's when they put him in the tomb. Okay, we can start the clock, right? Not when he was on the cross, but when they put him in the tomb. Friday, 7 o'clock. 24 hours later is Saturday, 7 o'clock. 24 hours later, 48 hours is Sunday at 7 o'clock. He was supposed to raise. That's 2 days, my man. That's 2 days. That's 2 days. It says, the Bible says that the Lord will rise in 3 days. There's another precept saying after 3 days. Or after 3 days, how is it possible for him to die on a Friday and rise on a Sunday? Because that's 48 hours. 48 plus hours. He says, good question. He goes in Friday, is in on Saturday, so that's 24 hours, and comes out on Sunday, that's 48 hours. That's 48 hours. It's not 72 hours, but it's across 3 days. Well, wait a minute. Couldn't he die later that night? Couldn't he raise up on a Saturday? Because it's across the 3 days. You see how these pagans roll? I'm not even gonna call them Christians no more. I'm gonna call them pagans, pagan Christians. So you see the response, because they don't know how to answer it. They don't know how to answer it. If you were to do the math, if you were to read the scriptures, let me do this. after 3 days. Let me do it this way. Minister Chris is his name. I'm asking him a simple question. You come on the live stream and we're gonna get down. Then he puts a list of Elder Mike and Sister Cherry and he puts all this. We got a whole army against you. All you had to do is answer the question. Well, the real question is, do you believe in Jesus? These Christians are getting their asses whooped after three days. Bear me for a minute. Okay, it says here, Matthew 27, verse 63, saying, sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days, I will raise again. So 72 hours has to transpire. Mark 8, verse 31. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. After 3 days, not within the 3 days. Let me do this. Let me hit the red letter. I hardly ever go to it. And where is it? Where the hell is the red letter? You can see I hardly ever go to it. Oh, you know what? I probably got to switch on the, let me do it this way. Okay, here it is. Red letter. Let me come back here. Okay. Let me do it this way. So it said after 3 days. So 72 hours has to transpire, right? We put in 3 days. 3 days. Come to the New Testament. Okay, this is the Lord speaking. If you go to the red letter, it said, for as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights, 72 hours complete, 72 hours in the whale's belly. So now the actual, when you go to Jonas, it says in hell, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights, 72 hours. 1 minute after 72 hours, he can be risen nights in the heart of the earth. Isaiah 26, verse 61, and said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of the Most High and to build it in 3 days. As you read that, he was talking about his own body, and he was really talking about us in a bigger sense because we're part of his body. There it is, sir. We remember this man saying 3 days and 3 nights. After 3 days and 3 nights. Mark 8, verse 3. I don't want that. Okay, Mark 8, verse 31. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man, let me click on this, because I want to go to the red letter. The red letter. I'm sorry, it doesn't come up. The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes and be killed. And after 3 days, raise again. Not within 3 days. Mark 14 and 58. Let's see what this says. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days, I will build another made without hands. Talking about his body being risen. Now, right here, it says within 3 days, but it says 3 days have to transpire. Your answer, your response, bring it back up. Okay. So I asked a question. His response was, good question. He goes in Friday, is in on Saturday, and comes out on Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 2 days. That's 48 hours. Let's be generous and give 46 hours. Still not, that's still not 3 days. That's only 2 days. Let me see if I can find Minister Chris. Okay, this is a different video. Let me do this. We go after you guys because you guys are pagans. You are of the devil. That's like me asking for the time. I'm asking a person about time, and the guy goes, "You don't know nothing about time. Let's have a debate on time." I said, "All I want is the time, man. What time is it?" We're gonna have a debate. We're gonna have a debate on time. Where the hell is he? He's way down here. Damn, where the hell is he? A lot of notifications came up. Okay, here he is. After I asked him a couple of times about how can you get 3 days out of Friday to Sunday, and all the back and forth, he goes, "It's too late to play. I have to go inside now." I wasn't playing. I was asking him a direct question. I didn't ask him a question to put a laugh out loud on it. I asked him a question. And he went into this whole, okay, let me see. Yeah, one precept, one comment or reply. He said, "Teach me." And I pretty much tell him, "I can't teach you unless you're born again. You'll never get it with that because you're pagan. You're a pagan Christian." He goes, "Your fingers feel real good typing, huh? I see you don't want to talk face to face live. Bring out the scripture." Well, because it's not a debate, it's a question. And then I go on and tell them that I don't have I'm not set up that way. I was like more than 10 years ago. You know, I had the webcam, and I even had my camera set up to where I could go, but I can't even find my webcam. So let me see. So instead of answering my question, he goes all the way around the world. Let me see. Okay, here it is. When I ask him a basic question, because mathematically it's impossible for you to get 3 days out of Friday to Sunday. That's 2 days. The biggest question you need to answer with yourself is, did Jesus lie about raising in 3 days? And no, he's not lying. But you guys are lying. You are lying on Jesus. You are lying on Jesus. And this is called a straw man. He wanted to go to the real question is, why don't you just answer like I asked you what time it is? The real question is, you should know what the beginning of time, what's time all about? Do you know, are you up on Chronos, the father of Zeus? Chronos means time. I didn't ask you all that. I just asked you what time it is. When you believe what Jesus said, then you will believe how. What the hell is this guy talking about? Let me see something. I'm sorry. Let me do this. He gives me all these precepts. When you believe what sounding like a used car salesman, if I ask him about the tires and I start the car and the check engine light, and I ask him about the check engine light is on. What you know about check engine lights, man? You ain't no mechanic. You ain't no mechanic. I said, I'm not a mechanic. I just asked you, why is the check engine light? There's a problem with the car if the check engine light is on. When you believe what Jesus said, then you believe how, whatever. But this is the nonsense you get with these Christians. Okay, let me do it this way. Let me try to get it in order. Like 21 replies back and forth. The biggest question you should ask is whether Jesus, and he's thinking about the white Jesus. He's thinking about Caesar Borgia. The Apostle Paul spoke about 2 Jesuses. Let me see. But what does it matter if you don't believe in Jesus, who said in 3 days he will be resurrected? Yeah, he did say that. I agree. I agree with the Lord said. So how do you guys say that he rose in 2 days? Obvious, you're going off. I said you will have to start teaching people that Jesus died on a Wednesday. Am I correct? Let's go live so you can teach me why. I'm not teaching you nothing. I'm asking a question. I need to teach Jesus died on a Wednesday from today's Western calendar instead of from the Jewish calendar. Jewish calendar doesn't deal with Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Inside joke, in which they went by in that time period face to face. Let me know so I can set you up. I said I didn't have a webcam. I'm not set up that way. Then he gives me all these guys. He gives me the infamous Elder Mike. Remember Elder Mike? He rolled up on IUIC Detroit and asked him, who's the king? In Deuteronomy 28:36. They couldn't answer. Cherry Love. Alton, he said, I got all my cousins, my brothers, we gonna beat you up. Faithful to God. Vocab Malone. He got all these guys. I'm asking you the question. I ain't asking them. And none of them can answer it. Not one of them. Elder Mike, you can't answer it. Sister Cherry, you can't answer it. Alton J09, you can't answer it. Treasure Christ, you can't answer it. BK apologist, he's from Brooklyn. Faithful to God, you can't answer it. Vocab Malone. I want each and every one of these guys to answer that. Now, this is what I'm gonna do. So you know these guys believe in Easter. This is what I did. I went to, I gotta come back to this. Let me go to Acts. What is it? Acts 12 and 4. And when he had apprehended him, he apprehended Peter and James, and he killed James and imprisoned Peter, intending to kill him. He put him in prison, this is Peter, and delivered him to the 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So now let's look up the word Easter. Did they did Herod or the Caesar, did they celebrate? No, Easter wasn't even heard of. See, that's the problem with Christianity. They don't question anything. Okay, so it says Pasach in the Greek, which is Passover, of Arabic origins or Hebrew origins, because it says H, which is Hebrew, Pasach, which means Passover. The Paschal, which is Greek for Passover sacrifice, which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old from Egypt. The people are Israelites. The Paschal lamb, i.e. the lamb the Israelites were accustomed to slay and eat in 14 days, the whole 9. It says, let me jump down to Paschal supper. The Paschal supper, Paschal is Greek for Passover, the feast of the Passover, extending from the 14th to the 20th day of the month Nisan, which is the first month of the year. So what they did was, Easter is nothing but a Passover. They just kind of redid it. They put a bunny in it. They put Easter eggs in it, which goes back to paganism. So Christians are really pagans. Christians are really pagans. Now I was reading something and it said a Paschal controversy. It said Paschal controversy, Christianity. There was what was the Paschal controversy? Fixing the date, or fixing meaning putting it where you want it to be put. It says fixing the date on which the resurrection of Jesus was to be observed, which they got that off. Good Friday, he was crucified, and Friday night, going into Saturday, he was put in the tomb, and on Easter Sunday morning, he rose back from the dead. That's 2 days. That's 24 hours. 48 hours. See, we study everything, man. We study everything. We go into everything. It said triggered a major controversy in early Christianity. You know what it means by early Christianity? It's during the time of Constantine the Great, or the first, in which an Eastern and Western, the Eastern Empire of Rome was 2 empires. Eastern Empire of Rome was ruled by Jake. The Western Empire Rome ruled under the power of Esau. The Western Empire fell, went down, was no more. The Eastern Empire stayed. Go and read the history. Don't take my word for it. Read the history. Don't be like a churchgoer. Don't take my word for it. Be like the Church of Berea. Position can be distinguished. The dispute known as the Paschal controversy, Paschal meaning the Passover controversy, how are we going to worship the Passover? Because we're supposed to worship the Passover, was not definitively resolved until the what? The 8th century. That's we're talking 700, we're talking 700 AD. So even during the time of the Nicene Council, they still didn't get it right. And eventually they said, okay, matter of fact, let me do this. What is Easter Passover contra? What is? Let me look at this. Blattus, a Montanist, caused a schism in Rome about the date of Easter. Blastus argued that Christians, see, this is what happens when you have back and forth debate with two different opinions. They can't settle it. It said they finally came to agree on the Pasach or the Easter or the Pasach, Pascal, in the 8th century, 8th century AD, 700, what was it, 700 AD. Easter at the same time commanding in Exodus, because they keep, you know what this is? Easter is nothing but a paganized version of Passover. They took certain things out of the Passover, they put pagan things in it. So what does that make you Christians? It makes you Christians a bunch of pagans. So when you use the term Christian or Christianity, you got to put in front of it pagan Christianity. They call us Black Hebrew Israelites, right? So we're going to call you pagan Christians. Pagan Christians. Your Christmas, you celebrate Christmas. That goes back to what? That goes back to the Assyrians with the evergreen tree, with the gold and silver on it. But back then they used real gold and silver. And they would put the heads of their victims in war. They would put their heads, you know, those balls, those are the heads of their victim. That's what it represents. So you guys ain't nothing but a bunch of pagans. The Most High gave you up to your own vile affection, man. That's why in the church, the head of the choir is always a what? It says, let me go here. Blastus argued that Christians must keep Easter, which is pagan, at the same time commanded in Exodus. So when they say Easter, what are they really saying? They're really saying Paschal, which is the Passover. But where did, even the 7 of 1 West, they used to Passover, they used to give out eggs. They used to boil eggs. So I was like, this don't make no sense. Our Passover, we don't have no eggs. You ain't gonna get no boiled eggs, because that's pagan. They used to have salad. The scriptures, the Passover speaks of having the lamb, the bitter herbs, unleavened bread, and then the wine, because when you do the ceremony, you drunk the wine with it. The Lord drunk the wine. It says Easter at the same time commanded in Exodus for the Passover and gained a following in Rome. Blastus was then accused of Judaizing by the church. No, you going into the Jew. No, we like the pagan stuff. We like the pagan stuff. You bringing in them laws. You bringing in them laws. You going back to Passover. This is not Passover. This is Easter. This is Pesach, which Pesach is Greek for Easter. Damn fools. Now let me jump over here. This is the pagan origins of Christianity. Because you guys are a bunch of pagans. That's why Minister Chris got all up. And then I stopped bothering him. I went getting ready to go to sleep. And I said, I went in and then he comes up with another thing. He comes up with another 2 hours later. He comes up with 40 minutes later, or whatever. He comes up with something else because he can't get no sleep. Then he says, I'm tired. I'm not going to play with you. There's nothing to play about. I asked somebody what time. Could you tell me where Main Street is? I'm not familiar. Stop playing with me. These motherfuckers, these Christians are bugged out, man. They're bugged out of their mind. And we just getting started on you, you clowns. We're just getting started on you. And Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi is going to make all of you take the charagma, and he's going to destroy every last one of you. He's going to destroy every last one of you. What's that? Don't be a menace in the hood while drinking, whatever. Don't be a menace to society while drinking your juice in the hood. There's a part where you got two old Christian women breakdancing, right? And then you got the pastor with the suit on, and the name of his church is like 20 words long. The New Revival Canaanite Baptist Word, a church of the Latter-day Saints of the Most High, in the name of Jesus, Canaanite Baptist Liberation Church for all nations, whatever he said. And he's preaching, right? He's preaching, and he's saying, don't ask no questions. Don't ask no questions. And that's what they do. When you go to church, you cannot ask questions. You cannot, you know, how can I say? You cannot doubt the pastor, or they'll kick you out the church. See, at least back there, during the time of Constantine, and even up until the time of this guy's name, Brutus, or whatever his name was, he had a great following. They confused the guy. They're saying you're Judaizing. You're Judaizing Pascha, which is Greek for Passover. He's saying, well, let's do it the way the Exodus 12 says do it. So it says here, what is the pagan version of Christianity? Pagan Christianity, which you guys all practice. That includes Vocab Malone, Elder Mike, Sister Cherry, all of you. You guys, there's a mixture of paganism and some of the Bible. Christmas has nothing to do with the scriptures. Read Jeremiah 10, first couple of verses. It said pagan Christianity may refer to Gentile, non-Jewish Christianity. See Pauline Christianity. And Pauline means Paul. Paul only spake to the Israelites. Some of them were being labeled as Gentiles. Syncretism of folk religion and Christianity. See folk Christianity, folk Catholicism, and folk orthodoxy. Early Christianity, influence early Christianity influenced by pagan, Greco-Roman, Hellenistic philosophy and culture. See origins of Christianity. You know what I'm gonna do? What is the true origin of Christianity? Christianity in first century Judea, because it came out of the Jews, from a sect of apocalyptic Jewish Christians. Christians merely mean followers of the Messiah. The word Christ means anointed, following of the anointed one. Within the realm of Second Temple Judaism, the basic tenets of Jewish religion during this era were ethical monotheism, of belief in one God, and the Torah, or the messianic laws. What does a Christian, when you say you can't eat pork is against the law, the law done away with, but then they'll ask you for tithes. So where did the tithes come from? It came from the law. It came from the law. Let's do this. What would I say? I said I was going to go to origins. Origins of Christianity. Let me do it this way. Oh, let me do it this. Origins of Christianity. Christianity originated in the first century AD. Judah, from a sect of, we just read that. Come on down. Where did the origin of Christianity come from? Let's see what that says. Christianity began in Judea, meaning among the Israelites. In the present day Middle East, Jews, Israelites, were told prophecies about a Messiah who would remove the Romans and restore the kingdom of David. And that's what he said when he opened up the Torah the first time. He said, I'll come to loose you from the prison. He was talking about to destroy the Roman Empire. So all throughout their life, including the apostles, they thought that the Lord is going to take down the Roman Empire. And he is going to take down the Roman Empire. But he didn't tell them there's two parts of the Roman Empire. This current system that we're living under, NATO and the EU nations, that's the new Roman Empire. And restore, and Nero's trying to get back into his position, which is Trump. What we know about Jesus' life and his birth about 6 BCE, before the Common Era, come from the 4 Gospels. There's nowhere in the 4 Gospels where it says Easter. There's nowhere in the 4 Gospels where it says Christmas. There's nowhere in the 4 Gospels where it says Sunday is the Sabbath. Let me do this. Origins of Easter. Easter, also called Pascha or Resurrection Sunday, is a Christian festival and cultural holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, described in the New Testament as having occurred on the 3rd day of his burial following the crucifixion by the Romans at Calvary, 30 AD. Should be 33 AD. The origins of Easter. Easter actually originated as an ancient pagan celebration of the spring equinox. In Christianity, they just took elements of the Passover and mixed it in with pagan beliefs. In Christianity, the day was dedicated to observing the resurrection of Jesus Christ, celebrated around the time of the Jewish Passover. Why? Because it's a bootleg version of Passover. They added eggs, they added bunnies. If you go to the images, right? What is the true story of Easter? And commemorating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Easter also celebrates the death, the defeat of death and the hope of salvation. Christian traditions hold that the sins of humanity, what Israelites, were paid for by the death of, I'll read it as it is, Jesus. He didn't die for all humanity. He died for Israelites, starting with the elect. And that his resurrection represented the anticipation believers can have in their own resurrection. Is Easter based on pagan, should be paganism, while Christmas was a celebration of the what? Of the winter solstice. That's pagan. Christmas, the origins of Christmas come from paganism. The celebration of the winter solstice. You had the fall equinox, you had the vernal equinox, you had the summer solstice and the winter solstice. Paganism. Easter was a celebration of the spring equinox for the what? For the pagans. So you guys are now pagan Christians. Pagans lived their lives in strong accordance with nature's rhythms of patterns. That's witchcraft. Witchcraft is about nature. Man knew. There was a movie called what was it called? The Craft, and it was a good movie. It was an excellent movie because it showed you what witchcraft was all about. And witchcraft was all about being in tune with nature and calling on the God man knew. Because them rights and everything that they were going through, but they made it more dramatic by making planes crash and this. No, you ain't got that type of power. And they were them four little girls, the four young girls, the high school girls. They would go to this older woman that had a place. She was like the witch of Endor at that time. And then they would get spells and certain things and oils and put spells on people. But they would call on Manu, which I don't know if they add that into the movie. I'm not an expert on witchcraft. But so really, you Christians are really warlocks. You're witches. You're witches. You're pagans. That's all you are. This is why Vocab comes against the Israelites, because he comes against the Israelites because the Israelites have the truth. We don't know his backstory. We don't know if he's doing it on his own. We don't think he is. He's not going to tell us. But he did say years ago that he was set up by his leaders to go and find out about the Israelites. He's writing all these books. He's getting with the ADL. So he's an insider. He's an agent. Whether he actually goes to somebody or maybe he's a direct agent of Satan. Maybe Satan comes to him in dreams. But he's not coming on his own power. And his thing, every video that he does is on Israelism, as he calls it, because we have the truth. Occasionally he'll go on Sarnetta's show, but he doesn't make a big deal about it. He ain't getting on these Kemetic people. He ain't getting on them because they don't have the truth. It's not a threat. He used to get on Islam. He don't get on Islam no more. And anytime he gets a lot of views is when he mentions a Sakari, IUIC, GMS, One Westers, Hebrews. He'll get anytime he speaks about, tries to teach a lesson, he don't get no views. And solstices and equinoxes, which is pagan, were considered to be sacred times in paganism. We almost finished. Okay, let's see what this is. Another thing, the mixture of paganism with the scriptures. They say the Lord was born on Christmas morning, this Christmas, which is December 25th, which is around, I believe it was the 22nd was the winter solstice. And then you had that 3 days in, which goes into the resurrection. I'm not an expert on that. It says the date of the birth is not stated in the Gospels or in any historical sources, but most biblical scholars generally accept a date birth of between 6 BC and 4 BC, the year in which King Herod died. Yeah, because they'll argue on that. Is Easter resurrection pagan? Easter first started out as a celebration of the spring equinox, a time when all of nature's awakening. That's witchcraft. Witchcraft is about the worship of nature and the God of nature from the slumber of the winter, and the cycle of renewal begins. Anglo-Saxon pagans celebrated this time of rebirth by invoking Ostra or Ostara, which today they say Easter. When you're saying Easter, you're really calling on the spirit of Ostra or Astera, the goddess of spring, the dawn and fertility. That's where the bunnies came in, because bunnies multiply. You know what? I don't got to say no more. I don't got to say no more. And I hope you're watching this video, Minister Chris.